Good afternoon and welcome to your news on TV1. For the News First team, I'm Shehan Ranathunga. First up, let's take a look at your headlines.
Cyclonic storm, Cittarang, changes course to Bangladesh. Met Department assures Sri Lanka will not have an impact. Heavy downpours in many areas continue. Landslide warnings issued to 5 districts. Tax on casinos increased by 150%.
මේ අවපස්යෙන් තව වැඩි කරන්න කියලා අපි උත්සාහ කරන්නේ. ඊට අමතරව මේ සියල්ලම අය කරාට පස්සේ ඒ ආයතනය මේ බදු ගෙවුවට පස්සේ ලබන ලාභයෙන් අපි 140කුත් උන්ගෙන් ගන්නවා.
Japan provides maize seeds to Sri Lanka for the Maha season. Fertilizer shortage continue to affect farmers. Former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson drops a bid to lead the Conservative Party.
Now to start things off, the India Met Department says that the cyclonic storm Cittarang was about 520 kilometers from Sagar Island and that it would intensify further into a severe cyclonic storm in the next 12 hours. Although it has not directly impacted Sri Lanka, multiple areas continue to receive rain.
The spill gates of multiple reservoirs have been opened due to heavy rains experienced in those areas. 5 sluice gates of the Polgolla Mahavali Dam have been opened thus far due to inclement weather. Chief Engineer's Office of the Polgolla Mahavali Dam said that due to this, people should be careful while using the Mahavali River. Sluice gates of the Kasalri Reservoir have been opened owing to the downpours experienced in the Central Hills. Muskelia Mausikale Reservoir has opened 3 spill gates since this morning. Meanwhile, the water levels of the Gin River in Pattegama have risen with continuous downpour. As a result, many low-lying areas and side roads in Thalikada, Dodamgoda, Ganegama and Horagampitiya were inundated. As a result, the vehicular movement has also been disrupted. The showery conditions were reduced in the Galle district this morning. However, many low-lying areas in Ambalangoda, Mithiyagoda and Batapola continue to remain underwater. The Millenia Panape Road in Milladine Divisional Secretariat has been inundated since this morning. Meanwhile, as a result of this continuous downpour, a tree had fallen on a house in Heenatipana Singharaja in Mavanalla. According to our correspondent, the house was severely damaged. Train services were halted for about 3 hours after a mound of earth collapsed onto the railway track near the Hatton train station. The mound of earth had collapsed at around 5 a.m. Our correspondent said that operations of the upcountry railway lines have now been restored. Meanwhile, landslide warning notices issued for many divisional secretariats in Galle, Kalutara, Kegol, Nuwara and Ratnapura districts continue to remain in effect. The Department of Meteorology says that more than 100 millimeters of rain is experienced in some places in western and Sabaragamu provinces as well as Galle and Mathura districts. According to the Met Department, wind speeds in the seas from Galle through Mathura to Hambantota could increase to 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. Naval and fishing communities are advised not to venture into the sea.
Now the Diwali Festival, which is an important date in the Hindu calendar, is celebrated today. And the new year for the Hindus, based on the lunar calendar, begins today.
The Diwali Festival, which marks the beginning of a new year, commemorates the defeat of the demon Naragasuran by Lord Vishnu. The lighting of lamps to depict the victory of good over evil is a tradition for Diwali Festival. Hindu devotees lit oil lamps in kovils to remember their deceased loved ones and celebrate the festival by eating sweetmeats.
In a message to mark the Diwali festival today, President Ranil Wickremesinghe says, in the spirit of Deepawali, let us all cast aside all differences and come together to collectively dispel the darkness that is currently shrouding our motherland with unprecedented challenges. The head of state requested all Sri Lankans, irrespective of race, religion or political affiliation, to unite around the light of Deepawali to rebuild the country. In a message on the occasion of Deepawali, Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says, even though 1,000 reasons can be created for division, everyone should put aside differences and work together at this point of time. Leader of the opposition, Sajith Premadasa, in his message to mark Deepawali, says this wonderful event will provide great support in creating communal harmony and mutual understanding with the hopes of reconciliation in mind. The opposition leader also noted that he hopes this Diwali festival will help everyone to let go of hatred and anger and live in peace and harmony.
Now in other news, State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siyamalapitiya says taxes will be raised on betting and gambling activities.
The annual tax charged from a casino was increased to 500 million from the 1st of August. Previously, it was 200 million. The tax was increased by 150%. Apart from increasing revenue, we are expecting a certain discouragement for these activities. We are hoping to raise taxes on activities related to this industry. We are in the process of amending the Betting and Gambling Act. We are hoping to introduce a special tax when registering casinos. Moreover, a $200 charge must be charged on every Sri Lankan when entering a casino. That is roughly 72,000 rupees. The annual tax on live betting centers, which was 600,000 rupees, will be increased to 1 million rupees. The tax charged on the turnover of a betting center will be increased from 10% to 15%. Annual taxes on non-live betting centers will be increased from 50,000 rupees to 75,000 rupees. Moreover, after imposing the above taxes, the said businesses will be taxed 40% of their profits.
මේ සියල්ලමයි කරාට පස්සේ ඒ ආයතනය මේ බදු ගෙවුවට පස්සේ ලබන ලාභයෙන් අපි 140කුත් ඔවුන්ගෙන් ගන්නවා.
Now Minister Manusha Nanayakkara says there are two ways in which the economy can be rebuilt.
We can't recover the economy by building factories. There are two ways to rebuild the economy. One is to earn through foreign remittances. The other is to earn through tourism. The tourism industry in the country collapsed for many years. Now it has picked its pace. Now is the time to have a revival.
Now the Japan International Cooperation Agency, or JICA, has arranged to grant 144 metric tons of maize seeds to the farming community. The donation will be made to mark 70 years of diplomatic friendship between Sri Lanka and Japan. The Japan International Cooperation Agency has incurred a cost of 533 million rupees to provide maize seeds. Under this initiative, maize seeds will be provided for the Maha season, covering every district. Under the first phase of the program, maize seeds were distributed to the people of Atlat Kalliya in Mahavilachya. The Director General of Agriculture, Jayanthi Langakun, said the seeds provided will enable to get a better harvest than the last season by utilizing lesser land area. Now, Monday marks 20 days of the 6th edition of the Gammadda Door-to-Door initiative that walks the length and breadth of Sri Lanka to identify the perennial issues of rural Sri Lanka. The program is joined by researchers from the University of Peradeniya.
The Gum at the Door-to-Door program is currently in effect in the Kegol, Ampara and Badulla districts. Gum at the Door-to-Door team visited the Sinipura village in Kapetipula, located in Valimada in the Badulla district. The main source of income for these villagers is the vegetable cultivation. However, the current fertilizer crisis has made it difficult for them. Farmers say the shortage of fertilizer and the high prices of existing stocks have made it impossible to engage in farming at 100%. The farmers also said they have concerns over the quality of fertilizer offered to them. Our team visited the Madurupa village in Mahantegama in rural Mavanalla in the Kegol district. This village is rich with tea, rubber and pepper plantations. However, the recent fertilizer crisis took a toll on these farmers, leaving them helpless. In addition to that, the road leading to the nearest market is also in a dilapidated state, making matters worse for the local farmers.
Now, the Sri Lanka Air Force had organized several religious events in Kandy to coincide with its 71st anniversary.
Commander of the Air Force, Air Marshal Sudarshana Patirana, called on the Mahanayak of the Askari chapter, Most Venerable Varakagoda Sri Gnanaratna Thero, and obtained blessings. Thereafter, he called on the Mahanayak of the Malwadu chapter, the Most Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Sumangala Thero. The commander of the Air Force also visited the temple of the sacred tooth relic and obtained blessings. The almsgiving for monks, including the Mahanayak of the Askari chapter, Most Venerable Varakagoda Sri Gnanaratna Thero, was conducted under the presence of the Commander of the Air Force. A medical and dental clinic for the staff at the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic took place on the instructions of the Commander of the Air Force.
Now in news overseas, former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has dropped a bid to lead the Conservative Party, ending a short-lived, high-profile attempt to return to a job he was removed from little more than 3 months ago.
His withdrawal on Sunday leaves former Finance Minister Rishi Sunak the strong favourite to become United Kingdom's next Prime Minister, the third this year at a time of political turmoil and severe economic challenges. Boris Johnson has withdrawn from the Tory leadership race as he has said that although he has much to offer, now is not the right time. His decision leaves the path now open for Rishi Sunak, the former Chancellor, who has a commanding lead over Penny Mordaunt. UK general elections, where all 650 MPs are elected to the House of Commons, have to be held no more than 5 years apart. Former Culture Secretary Nadina Dorries says it will now be impossible to avoid a general election, taking aim at the remaining two leadership candidates, Rishi Sunak and Penny Mordaunt.
Now in other news, a one-man protest against Xi Jinping in Beijing has sparked solidarity protests around China and the world as Xi Jinping enters his third term.
Last Thursday, a man strung banners across the bridge in China's capital that accused Xi of being a dictator. He was quickly detained, but photos of his actions spread around the world. Since then, similar signs and messages have appeared, with another banner sighted on the Stinton Bridge, announcing Xi as a dictator and a national traitor, and call his removal. Both banners were swiftly removed by police and all mentions of the protest wiped from the Chinese internet. But the display of political defiance has resonated far beyond the Chinese capital, sparking acts of solidarity from the Chinese nationals, including China and across the globe. Over the past week, anti-Xi slogans echoing in the Stinton Bridge banners have popped up in a growing number of Chinese cities and hundreds of universities worldwide.
Now, Ukraine has condemned unsubstantiated claims by Russia that Kyiv might use conventional explosives laced with radioactive material referred to as dirty bombs.
Russian's Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu made a dirty bomb remarks in a call with his UK counterpart Ben Wallace. He stated that he was concerned about the possible provocations by Kyiv involved in the use of a dirty bomb. Responding to this, President Zelensky accused Russia of being the source of everything dirty that can be imagined in this war. Ukrainian allies also dismissed the claims, with the US saying it rejected any pretext from Russian escalation. He further mentioned that Russia was threatening the world with a radiation disaster at the Zaporizhia nuclear plant, which it had captured, and also spoke on the threats of Moscow aiming to detonate a major dam in the southern Ukraine. The Kremlin has denied the allegation.
Now on to the T20 World Cup. Now the Netherlands have produced a disciplined bowling performance to restrict Bangladesh to a modest total in their ICC Men's T20 World Cup Super 12 clash in Hobart on Monday. Now the informed Dutch side bowled well for the majority of Bangladesh's innings, and some solid catching in the field meant that the Asian side could only muster 144 for 8 from their 20 overs at the Belrive Oval. Seamers Paul van Makkerin and Basti Leader picked up 2 wickets apiece, while teenager Shariz Ahmed got the big wicket of Bangladesh captain Shakib Al Hassan for 7. Najmul Hossain Shanto and Soumya Sarkar got Bangladesh off to a decent start with a partnership of 43 inside the batting power play, but they fell in quick succession as the rot set in. The usually reliable Shakib and Lithan Das failed to reach double figures, with Arif Hossain the pick of the batters, as Bangladesh posted a gettable target for the Netherlands on an overcast day in Hobart. Now in other news, Islam Makhachev pulled off a submissive win over Charles Oliveira to win the lightweight title, and Ajmain Sterling beat TJ Dillashaw by TKO to claim the bantamweight belt at UFC 280 in Abu Dhabi on Saturday.
No final question from you, Red. If you want to touch gloves, come out now.
A division ubiquitously regarded as the best of shoulder. Charles Dubronx Oliveira, who is plus 165.
Islam Makhachev capped his ascent to the lightweight throne with a win by arm triangle choke against Brazilian Oliveira, the holder of the UFC record for most submission wins with 16. After spending much of the first round defending and trying to threaten with submissions off his back, Charles Oliveira tried to keep the fight on the feet in the second round.
To describe it, what a involvement. Another nice stick to the bottom of Kutcher. Oliveira's corner said they want him to go.
The tactic looked like it was paying off until he was decked by a punch from Makhachev, who wasted no time jumping on his opponent, locking in the choke and forcing the tap for Oliveira.
What a way to step to Dagestan!
And new undisputed UFC lightweight champion of the world, Islam Makhachev.
Islam Makhachev dedicated the win to his late coach Abdul Manap Nurmagomedov, who died in 2020.
And I just want to say, you see, this my belt for my coach Abdul Manap Nurmagomedov many years ago.
He then handed the belt to Khabib Nurmagomedov, who took over from his father as the Russian's coach and is himself a former UFC lightweight champion.
This is him and his father make me, I know.
Makhachev's 11th submission win moves the 31-year-old to a record of 23 wins and 1 loss as a pro. Islam Makhachev's next opponent will be featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski.
You where you try to become a double champion. Are you down? Let's do it.
Now in other news, Max Verstappen fought back to pass Lewis Hamilton to win a dramatic United States Grand Prix and equal the record for victories in a season. And that's it from the news team for now. Thank you for watching.
ඇත්ත කෙටියෙන් දත්ත වැඩියෙන් සයිබර් අවකාශයේ කලබන වුවත් සලකුණ News First YouTube චැනලය අදම සබස්ක්‍රයිබ් කරන්න. News First ජනතාව සමග